Hello, beautiful souls. Rana here. I wanted to make a video today talking all about synchronicities. So, what they are and how we can really pay attention to them on our spiritual awakening journey. So, some of you guys might be a little familiar with synchronicities. It's a very, very fascinating concept. And I wanted to get into a little about what they really are, and again, how we can pay attention to them on our spiritual journey. So just to give a little context, synchronicity was coined by the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung in the early 20th century. And he described it as the occurrence of events that are meaningfully related, even though they might lack a direct causal connection. So he used synchronicity to bridge the gap between inner experience and outer reality. He believed these events reveal an underlying order in the universe. It can also be seen as a non-physical link between psyche and matter. So according to him, synchronicity wasn't just an oddity, but a very profound clue that our inner world is very deeply connected to our outer world. So not all coincidences are synchronicities. Usually a coincidence is a kind of random event, whereas synchronicities tend to be much more emotionally charged and come from this really deep inner knowing. It comes from a place of a lot of deep introspection and just this deep inner knowing that this event wasn't just, again, some random coincidence, but some deep alignment that you just had with the universe. So really the key difference lies in the feeling. And synchronicities are very symbolic and very meaningful. So from a spiritual lens, synchronicities are believed to be messages from the universe. They can be seen, again, as I mentioned, as signposts or kind of like winks from the universe, but it's just a way for, again, the universe to communicate with us and let us know that, hey, you're on the right path, and I hear you and I see you and I'm listening to you. So again, they're just very deeply divine messages that when we really pay attention to them are pointers that we are on the right track, and to just keep going and to kind of keep doing a lot of the spiritual inner work that we've already been doing. It can also indicate that we are in vibrational alignment. So again, it's this idea that when our inner world is aligned, then a lot of that manifests in our external reality. So when we get the inner right, then the kind of outer will fall into place. And again, these are ways that the universe communicates with us that we are on the right track and to keep doing what we're already doing. Personally, I found that when I'm doing a lot of intense sadhana, when I'm doing a lot of spiritual practice, then synchronicities become much more frequent in my life. So really, it's just very, very encouraging to constantly see that and pay attention to that and be aware of that. And I encourage you all to have that as well in your life. So just be more consistent with your spiritual practice, and ultimately you will notice more synchronicities as well. So some common forms of synchronicity is seeing repeated numbers. That's a really big one. So 1111 is a really big one. 222 is another really common one. Seeing kind of like thinking about a book, for instance, and seeing that book, or thinking about a song and hearing that song very shortly afterward. Or another big one too that I've experienced is thinking about a certain person, a specific individual, and they text you right away. So things like that, just having this thought and it not really having any specific rhyme or reason. There wasn't really an event that led up to that thought in your head, and all of a sudden it kind of manifests in your external reality. Sometimes it's really creepy, actually. So, I mean, not creepy, but it's like really just super surprising. It's like, how did this just happen? How did I just randomly think of this one thing and it all of a sudden I'm like seeing it physically somewhere? So it's really, really powerful. And again, it really ramps up and you notice them much more frequently when you are just really consistent on this path. Having a certain dream that mirrors a life event, or even meeting someone that really influences your overall journey and path, can also be seen as, synchronicities. Another big one for a lot of people is certain signs in nature. So, for instance, seeing specific animals or maybe like a butterfly and looking into the kind of spiritual, symbolic message behind that certain animal, again, is a really big one and can really influence where you're at in your journey. So, like if you're a woman struggling with infertility and, I forget the specific animal that's associated with that, but seeing that again can be kind of seen as a synchronicity to tell you that, you're on the right track and to not give up and not lose hope. So as I've already mentioned, synchronicities are ultimately signs from the universe. They're really big signs from the universe that we are in alignment with our true soul's purpose and that, again, we are on the right track. So paying attention to them is really, really key. And one thing that I really like to do is actually writing them down and journaling about them and really asking myself, how did it make me feel? Because a lot of the time, we can be really giddy with excitement and enthusiasm when they happen. And we really kind of end up wanting more of them because they really ultimately end up just being signposts that really guide us on our journey. And really, they help us recognize our connection to all that is. So that's it for this video. Just wanted to kind of give a little overview. Again, I have a blog post. I have a blog post that accompanies almost all of my videos. So go ahead and check that out if you want to learn more about synchronicity. I'd love to know if any of you guys have experienced synchronicity and what that was like for you and what you do when you go about finding out that you just had this experience of a synchronicity and the universe just communicated with you in that way. Otherwise, I hope you all have a beautiful day and I will talk with you all soon. Bye.